With the Until Dawn movie releasing around the corner and the recent remake of the original game last October, I started to think about what the canon ending of Until Dawn really is. Many other YouTubers and theorists have given their ideas on this subject, but most of them really focus on their character deaths. I wanted to take it a step further and go through every single choice, every dialogue option, and every clue or collectible that can be found within this game. I'm not just focusing on just whether or not these characters would survive, but if they would be able to solve the different mysteries surrounding Blackwood Mountain. Hello, welcome to Running Out of Ideas. This took me over a month to make, so I hope you really enjoy it. First, I'm going to need to explain on how this is all going to work. On screen you'll see all the settings that I use, like random QTEs, but obviously there's more to the game than just that. I used the remake version of this game as with the new possible endings for both Sam and Josh, along with different character traits and other smaller details throughout the game. It just seems likely that if supermassive games were ever to make a direct sequel, they are going to be using this version. Character choices and reactions were based on research over their different traits, relationships with one another, and what the actors themselves had to say about their characters, as if there was going to be anyone who would know how they would react in these situations, they are going to be the best option. Finally, I avoided totems as the characters themselves never really reacted to discovering them. The totems were really just there for the player experience. All other clues and collectibles, however, are fair game to find. With that being said, I present to you the canon ending of Until Dawn. Outside her family cabin, Beth is spending time with a new friend. Let's go on breakfast. Her sister Hannah, however, discovers a note written by Mike, her longtime crush. But it is actually just the beginning of a prank created by her friends. Sam tries to express concern, but
Hannah's been making the moves on him. I'm just looking out for my girl, Em.
And the rest of the group leave to get the rest of the prank ready, while Sam sits there, unsure if she should step in. With Hannah getting ready for the night of her dreams, and her friends putting in the final touches, with a small tease of Mike and Jeff's future relationship, Beth comes back inside and wanders around the kitchen, taking note of someone outside despite being told it was just them, and finding the note left for Hannah.
Her naive sister get herself into now?
You probably don't want to know, Beth, as she's about to go all the way until Sam finally stands up for her friend and exposes the prank. Yeah, that might have gone a little too far. As Hannah runs out into the woods, Beth is forced to go follow her by herself, with Josh passed out on the couch and the rest staying back at the cabin.
It was just a prank, Han.
Okay, you know I had to add this line, it's just too perfect. As Beth tries to find Hannah in the woods, she discovers a small wooden shack, nearly becomes the main course at a barbecue. She soon finds footsteps in the snows, which leads her right to Hannah. The two sisters embrace each other, but a sudden screech echoes throughout the woods, proving to Beth that they were not in fact alone. As they race through the woods, they soon find themselves at the cliff's edge with nowhere else to go. One wrong step by Hannah and they're both just barely hanging on to life. As Beth hangs on, a stranger suddenly appears offering their hand, but as she would be forced to drop Hannah to save her own life, Beth must make the difficult decision and refuses to leave her sister. And typically at the end of each chapter, there's a segment with Dr. Hill that's meant for the player to open up and expose their fears to be used against them. Since it is later revealed that Dr. Hill is actually speaking with Josh during these segments, we're going to answer them as Josh. So after handing us a postcard and answering his questions about it, Dr. Hill catches on and knows that we are lying to him. But our session ends, leaving further questions to be asked later at another time. A year later, Sam and everyone else decided it's time to return back to Blackwood Mountain in honor of Beth and Hannah to remember the good times. Sam is actually the last one of the friend group to arrive and meets up with Chris, who shows her the gun range behind the station. But not before Sam notices the wanted poster. After Chris shows Sam his Texan side,
Wow, nice shooting, Tex.
don't worry, the squirrel does live. The two go inside the station. Chris notices some strange camera footage, and the two ride a cable car all the way to the top of the mountain as Chris explains the butterfly effect to her and how everything can happen just because of one choice. At the top, Jess is waiting at the cable car, seeing who else has arrived. Realizing it is Sam and Chris, lets them outside of the busted station. Yeah, Josh will probably get that fixed soon. Chris takes Jess's letter, realizing it's from Mike, and Jess explains that she and Mike are now together. Chris heads up to the cabin while Sam gets one last view of the mountains before following.
Sometimes I forget to just stop and take it all in.
Emily and Matt are already halfway up there before... Yeah, nice try. That's not going to work on me. As Mike and Emily start to argue, Matt interrupts and tells Mike, let's not make this weekend any more awkward than it already has to be. With the promise of a future makeout session later on, Mike leaves for the cable car station. Emily, however, suddenly remembers that she was supposed to meet up with Sam, but despite what I would have done, Matt decides to let her go alone and takes the bags himself. Ashley, not that far ahead, confirms that Emily is a certified bitch by looking through the binoculars before... Thankfully, Ashley shows Matt what she saw and Matt walks away feeling betrayed. Honestly, I just feel bad for the dude here. Back at the station, while Jess is distracted on her phone, she just nearly avoids a headshot from Mike. The two begin an epic snowball battle until Jess proves she's the ultimate snowball queen and kisses Mike as her reward. With a satisfying victory, they make their way to the cabin, not realizing someone else is close behind. In Dr. Hill's next session, Dr. Hill tries to uncover Josh's fear. You can pause the video right here if you want to see why I made these specific choices, because trying to explain all of them would just take way too much time, and this video is already going to be longer than I planned. After the questions, Josh's fears are snakes, scarecrows, and crows. With a promise of a good Friday night, the session ends. In Chapter 2, we meet up with Chris, Matt, Sam, and Ashley as they make it to the cabin where Josh is waiting for them. Chris checks up on his friend, but the two soon realize that the cabin is frozen shut.
Wait a second, are you saying we should break in?
Yes, you should. Chris checks in with Ashley.
So, how are you doing?
Once out of earshot, Josh lets Chris know that there's no perfect time like now to ask her out.
You're a hunter, bro. No fear, no mercy. I mean, she won't even know what hit her.
Chris notices a missing axe and soon finds a way inside the cabin. Chris adventures into the house alone while Josh leaves to take care of business elsewhere.
Point the spray can in the lighter and whoosh.
While exploring the house, Josh is able to find a portrait of the Washington family, prank the girls, and... Every goddamn time, Chris melts the lock. That's it. I'm gonna eat you.
Oh, it was just a cute little baby Wolverine.
Don't care. That is now lunch. Everyone goes inside and Josh goes to get a fire started. Mike and Jess soon enter the room and Matt warns Mike to stay away from Emily, but backs off as he really doesn't want to pick a fight right now. Mike and Jess begin their makeout session that was meant for Matt. Emily enters the room and is immediately not afraid to start a fight with Jess. Matt tries to defuse the situation, but when Jess insults Emily, that sets him off. Josh breaks it up before he can get out of hand. Man, I was really hoping to see Jess give Emily a good old bitch slap. By sending Mike and Jess to the cabin while Matt and Emily go back to the cable car since Matt forgot one of Emily's bags.
Warm? You can get very warm.
Josh hands Mike the keys and tells him to fire up the generator on the way. With a quick selfie, they journey into the woods, agreeing that Emily was a bitch. Glad I'm not the only one. And fire up the generator. However, they're not as alone as they think they are. They soon find police tape from Hannah and Beth's crime scene, and Mike does admit that he doesn't remember much of what happened last year, while Jess remembers everything. They soon find their path blocked and detour into the mines. Mike heroically follows Jess through, stopping every now and then, finding different clues. These include a cigar stub, mystic symbol, and a mine danger map. Once back outside, Jess believes to have seen something near the cabins, but Mike reassures her that there's nothing out there, while also trying to persuade her not to hug a bear.
Let's go hug a bear.
No, Jesse said don't hug a bear. Though me personally, I would hug a bear if I could too. Mike gets scared by some crows, but plays it off.
Just answering his meeting.
With their path blocked once again and no mines in sight, Jess climbs the barricade and restarts the snowball war from earlier. As Mike gathers ammunition, Jess suddenly disappears, her voice echoing into the wind. Back at the cabin, Sam works on getting her bath started.
Oh, do you need any help with that?
But with no hot water, she rejoins Josh, Ashley, and Chris in the main room. The latters are tasked with finding a spirit board while Josh and Sam turn on the hot water heater. Sam wishes for Chris to finally ask out Ashley, while Josh believes that they might need some trauma to bond over before he does. Josh thanks Sam specifically for coming back despite what happened last year, and Sam reassures him that they are all there for him. While Josh works on getting the hot water on, Sam finds the baseball bat, asking what it's doing up here on the mountain. Josh grabs it, reminiscing on good old times before putting it away, and the two are able to get the hot water heater back on. Sam starts hearing noises, and Josh believes that she might be scared, but Sam protests, saying that she's not. Josh soon hears the noises as well, and when Sam goes to check it out, the two begin getting chased by a hooded figure and realize that they are trapped inside the basement. Of course, it is just Chris who has found his true calling and taken a vow of silence. Sam goes upstairs to take the world's longest bath while the rest begin the preparations to speak with the dead. Outside the cabin, Matt asks Emily if they can just start the weekend over and she agrees. Emily and Matt take a private detour and Emily thanks Matt for putting up with her. You know, despite her not being my favorite character, at least she admits her faults. As the two take in the view around him, Emily reveals what was in the bag they're after.
Hell, we don't need those.
One totem pole rescue later and the two hear a loud screech and find a note tied onto a pig's head welcoming them back. The two agree enough is enough and return back to the cabin. In the next session, Dr. Hill asks Josh if he shares this fear of failure that some of his friends have, to which Josh admits he does. When asked what does he value in a person, he answers in order of charity, loyalty, and honesty. The session ends with a promise to talk soon. As the stage is set, Ashley asks if anyone is there. The response? Someone is in need of help. Hannah is in need of help. Chris is of course skeptical of this. Ashley is ready to stop, but Josh asks her to keep going. Ashley apologizes for what happened, but Hannah felt betrayed. Chris tells Ash to ask what happened, and Hannah reveals that there is proof in the library. The piece flies off the board and Josh storms away believing his friends are making fun of him. Ashley and Chris decide to give Josh his space and go to the library instead. Back with Mike, he climbs over the barricade and follows Jess's footsteps. Damn it, Jess, not you too. Jess claims Mike was scared, but he plays it off, telling her she's going to have to try harder than that. On their way to the cabin, they find one of Josh's baseballs, but also the letter M and E carved into a tree. Mike confesses that despite what he portrays, he is connected with his emotions. Mike hears something off in the distance, throws a rock to scare it off. Well, looks like we got dinner too. Mike and Jess find a small shack where he finds an old mask and is a firm believer in an eye for an eye. Wait, Mike, don't. I am so sorry, Jess. Promising to get her warm ASAP, they quickly make their way back to the cabin.
Yes, back here, boy!
And yes, Mike did put the deer out of his misery. However, no man could drag a deer away that fast, so they do the smart thing and get the hell out of Dodge and finally make it to the cabin. How far away was this damn cabin anyways? With the promise of no bear coming through the door, Mike works on getting the mood lighting set and a roaring fire for his girl.
Huh?
He also finds a native book and Jess realizes her phone is missing while all of this is going on. Once the fire is started, Mike and Jess begin to get very close with each other.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nope, don't care if this is a video game, they're still teenagers. Moving on. A sudden crash has Mike investigating and finding that Jess's phone has crashed through the window, believing it to be their friends pulling a prank on them, and we know what happened last time. Jess decides to run outside and tell them that they can't ruin their good time. That doesn't stop them from trying though. Moving on. In the library, Ash notices a strange light coming from below while Chris is able to discover the proof that Ghost Hannah was talking about. Ashley wants to show it to Josh, so they make their way to the main room, stopping to notice that Josh's mom has been seeing some guy around the woods. Chris tells Ashley all the strange findings and coincidences that have been occurring since they have arrived. Josh's screams are heard coming from the kitchen, and while they try to save him, they are quickly taken out by the psycho. In the next session, Josh is told to pick his least favorite person out of the group and admits that out of all of them, he dislikes himself the most. With Jess being dragged out the window at Mach speed and most likely dead, Mike does the smart thing and stay inside the cabin with the gun.
Jess!
Or not. Well, he better be quick to save her, and to do that, he's going to have to risk his life at every turn. He cannot make any mistake as those precious seconds could be the difference between life and death. Then he's going to have to follow her voice, navigate the area, and hopefully... Oh, he found her. And she's alive? Well, that's great. Now just grab her and...
Jessica!
I got nothing. I didn't even expect her to be alive, and... Moving on. Mike takes a shot at the kidnapper and then safely climbs his way to the top of the tower to follow it. Seeing the stranger, Mike's gun jams at the worst time and is forced to chase him down. After tailing the stranger, Mike is outside watching from a distance as the stranger gets closer to the sanatorium. Inside the cabin, Chris wakes up and notices that Ashley is missing with her wallet on the ground and what appears to be blood scattered on the wall. Chris walks outside and calls for Ashley, but no such luck. He makes it to a shed not too far from the cabin where he finally hears Ashley's voice. The psycho has tied up both Ashley and Josh, promising to kill only one, but Chris must decide who will die, his lifelong friend or the girl he loved. With much pain, Chris makes the difficult choice and saves Ashley, killing Josh. Chris frees Ashley and the two escape outside, running into Emily and Matt, where Chris informs them that a killer is on these mountains and that Josh is dead. Matt wants to find the others, but with Mike and Jess nowhere near them and unsure of where Sam exactly is, Emily insists that they need to find help now. Chris and Ashley run back to the cabin to go find Sam, while Matt and Emily run to the cable car station. Back with Dr. Hill, Josh's game is going exactly as he planned, but Dr. Hill questions make Josh wonder what Dr. Hill even wants from him. Dr. Hill says he wants to help, but that the game that he's playing is not good for anyone, especially for Josh.
Do you intend to continue with this elaborate self-indulgence?
Josh says yes, and even states that the Dr. Hill in front of him doesn't exist, but can Josh really tell the difference anymore? Following up with Mike, the stranger enters the sanatorium and follows him through the main door. The stranger walks into the chapel and locks the door behind him. Mike cannot follow him without his own pass, so he must explore the sanatorium and find his own way through. In doing so, he finds different clues about disappearing miners. These clues are clocking cars from the mines, a newspaper from 1952 about an assaulted reporter, a medical report on the 12 surviving miners, and a telegram to Mr. Bragg about the 12 survivors. He's also able to find a machete to use for later. As Mike gets close to the morgue, he foolishly grabs the moving hand in the center of the room. Being caught in the moment, Mike chooses the painful but quick option of removing his fingers. After bandaging up,
Meeny, mighty, whoa. Catch a tiger by the toe if he... I don't know what the fuck to go. Okay.
he enters the actual morgue and locates a strange skull, Nicholas Bowen's name tag, a death certificate for Sarah Smith, and the chapel security pass. Mike escapes from a chasing wolf and sees the stranger exiting the chapel on the other side. He also enters the chapel and, unfortunately for me to say, kicks the wolf out of instinct. Don't worry, he later apologizes to the wolf and befriends him. Mike also locates a full cigar, answering where the previous cigar stub came from, a clipping wall, and finally a jacket. Honestly, how do none of these characters die from hypothermia? How? Oh, and he also gets a gun, and idiotically shoots out of the lock from point blank range. And Mike continues following the stranger. After shooting one more lock, he creates a fire trail and nearly dies to an explosion. At the cable car station, Matt finds the missing axe but realizes the door is locked. Matt helps Emily go through the window, who navigates through the dark and unlocks the door. After turning on the lights, they realize that the place has been vandalized and that the cable car key is missing. With no way to escape the mountain, Matt discovers a radio tower nearby and Emily insists that they need to get to that tower. Matt wants to regroup with the others as they've already been gone for so long. Of course, it's either Emily's way or the highway, so they make their way to the radio tower. Matt saves Emily from falling, maybe next time. On the way, they discuss their options, but the radio tower is the safest bet for them. The two make it to the same cliff that Beth and Hannah fell off of, and before long, the two find themselves surrounded with no escape. It's been 3 chapters since we last saw Sam, so let's check in on her. Yep, still in the bath, I see. For almost 3 hours. Oh, and look, Sam, you have a visitor too. When Sam gets out of the bath, she believes her friends are playing a prank on her by stealing her clothes. Apparently we didn't learn our mistake from last year, but oh well. Sam walks around the cabin trying to find him and finds a photo of her, Mike, Emily, and Hannah from prom night. She gets locked inside the movie theater and the Psycho makes her watch a video where she sees that Josh is dead. The Psycho plans to capture her, but Sam is not afraid to fight back. She's able to escape into the basement and forces a door open, locking it behind her. She walks into the rundown motel and successfully hides from the Psycho in the elevator shaft. In the next session, it is revealed that Dr. Hill has been talking to the Psycho, and since there are no choices to make here, the sessions will end. And that's where we'll stop for now. Sorry I'm having to split this into 2 parts, but I hope you at least found it somewhat interesting or entertaining. What do you think about the story so far? Any changes you would have made? Let me know in the comments below. Next video will be the conclusion and should be posted next Friday on April 25th, as long as nothing else throws my schedule off course. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.